Hi, my name is Heidi Speaker. I am a mom of two. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. And after my second child, I suffered from postpartum depression. And my first baby was, pretty easy, to be honest. She wasn't like necessarily an easy baby, but my recovery and everything went really well. I've always been like a really positive, happy person. I feel like I've always been able to control my thoughts and stay happy, even if circumstances were tough in life. I was always able to keep a positive mindset through it all. And after my second baby, when, I definitely felt like my hormones were off. I had this unique thing when I would breastfeed. It was called dysphoric milk ejection reflex, so DMERS. And every time I would breastfeed, my dopamine levels would drop. And it would just make me either just start crying or just make me feel really grossed out or really sad. And that was like extremely difficult for me to handle because I loved breastfeeding my daughter. I breastfed her for almost a year straight. And so having this, I was excited to breastfeed my son as well. And when it was causing all of these hormonal issues, it just was hard. It was hard and challenging for me to deal with. Once I found out what it was, I was able to cope a little bit better. But I felt like over time, like that and just other things in my life, I just started noticing all these other kind of typical postpartum depression signs. And I never told anyone about them. I never opened up about them. I just kind of like pretended they didn't exist and tried not to think about it. I tried to exercise every day and eat healthy and get outside and, wake up and get dressed and get the kids out for the day. All those things that you're supposed to do when you do have postpartum depression. And I just felt like despite doing all of these things you're supposed to do, every day was just getting harder and harder for me to cope and to deal with. And one of my really good friends actually, who was suffering, she'd had postpartum depression before, and I just really admire her because she was always so open about her experiences. And she came over one day and I was able to just open up to her about the things I was going through. And she encouraged me to tell my husband and, seek the proper help for it. She said she would watch my kids for me while I went to my first doctor's appointment. And from there, it just I thought it would get better, once you realize what's wrong and that you want help for it. I thought it would just get better from there, but really, I just felt like the whole year after that was just this roller coaster of trying to figure it out and trying to heal. And there were times when I really questioned if opening up about it was the right thing to do. Maybe if I just kept pretending it wasn't there, that eventually it would just go away and everything would be fine. And I realized looking back now that talking about it is really the only way to truly heal from it. And the more I've been able to open up about it and talk about it to my family, to my friends, to my doctors, that, I am able to heal from it, and that it actually hasn't been a total hindrance in my life, but I've been able to grow and to learn from all the experiences that I've had and to have empathy for other people. And I guess I want to talk now about a few things that have really helped me through it. Everyone's experiences and I think symptoms are so different, and I don't want to go too much into what I experienced personally, because a lot of it is very hard and everyone's life is so different. But I think the things that really helped me throughout the last year were just having hope that it wouldn't last forever, and also that there's good times in between all the bad times. And kind of holding on to those good times makes those bad times a little more bearable, I think. And then also, for me, I think a lot of times, like, I would try to figure out the cause of why this happened. And like some of my family members, and they did it out of good intention because they love me and they care for me, but I felt like sometimes they were always trying to find a cause for why this was happening to me. And I just realized, like, that's like one of the worst things you could do when struggling with a mental illness, because there really is no cause except for your body's out of balance, and that you have to just feel love from the people around you, and you have to feel support from the people around you, and know that you can get through it, and know that it won't last forever. And like, there will be good times amidst the bad and the hard times. I think too, for me personally, finding a balance of like work and hobbies that added value to my life rather than stress was extremely helpful. I think there were times I took on too much, thinking that it would help me, but really it ended up causing me a lot more stress. And I had to learn that saying no to other things was saying yes to my family and yes to my health. And and then I think another thing was just prioritizing my health. And a lot of times, I'm a personal trainer, and I have a degree in exercise science, and so I'm very focused on nutrition and exercise. And while that's so important, and I think most people, when they think of health, they think of physical health. But going through this, I've realized that there's 3 other really important aspects of your health. You have your spiritual health, your mental health, and your emotional health as well. And so those 4 key things. And one thing that really helped me was I set daily goals in each of those categories, and they weren't big things. They were very small goals that I knew I could do every day. And at the end of the day, I would just, take 10 or 15 minutes and write in my journal, what I did to fulfill each of those goals. And they were just small things. Like for my emotional health was just to find something that made me laugh every day. And at the end of the day, I would reflect back on what made me laugh. And a lot of times, like, I would find something, like, I'd initially think like, oh, nothing made me laugh or nothing was funny that day. But having that time to reflect and think, I'd always find something that was funny. Or if I didn't, I would like look up a funny video on YouTube, or watch a funny show or something, because I think that having that laughter each day in your life is so important when struggling with something like that. I mean, to anyone struggling with this, I would just remember that it's temporary, and remember to hold on to those good times amidst all the hard times. And if you're questioning whether you should open up about it to somebody or not, I very strongly emphasize to talk to somebody about it. Find someone who you can put your trust in, who won't judge you, who loves you unconditionally. And if you don't have anyone in your life like that, then go find a good doctor, a good psychiatrist who can help you through it.